Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another vid. It seems we have some information about Visions Season 2. Now, if you remember Visions, which came out last year, it was a really different version of Star Wars. It was a lot of non-canon stories that were essentially inspired by Japanese anime. And it was shipped out to a lot of different studios, I think 8 or 9 studios, and each one had their own crack at a anime version of Star Wars, a different story, which birthed the novel and the story Ronin, which was actually really cool. So anyways, lo and behold, we're getting Season 2, which I'm actually quite excited about. Not all the episodes of the first season were bangers, were really my favorite, but there were some in particular that were really great, and I would have loved to have seen a continuation of those in perhaps a series or even a movie. So today's article comes from Empire. If you're both a Star Wars fanatic and an animation nerd, get ready for Lucasfilm to make your wishes come true. The animation studios handling episodes of the next batch of Visions have just been announced. And there's plenty to look forward to. The anthology series telling not necessarily canonical stories in the Star Wars universe, which, might I say, is really refreshing because we can explore different stories that don't have to tie into the confines of necessarily what is and what isn't canon now, especially with Disney having changed everything, changed all of Legends and to create their own story. We now can venture out into our own world of Star Wars mythos, so to speak, Star Wars style, but also to do our own thing, which is really fun. Initially centered on studios from Japan, but Season 2 of Visions is broadening the scope to showcase animation houses from around the world, including ones from the UK and Ireland. Now, we know that the UK studio is none other than Aardman, behind the likes of Wallace and Gromit and Chicken Run, and that the Irish studio is Cartoon Saloon, the geniuses behind Song of the Sea, Wolfwalkers, and more. Aardman and Cartoon Saloon are doing Star Wars shorts. Aardman's episode is titled I Am Your Mother and is directed by Magdalena Osinska, while Cartoon Saloon's is titled Screecher's Reach and will be directed by Paul Young. Other studios contributing to Season 2 will be Spain's El Guiri, Chile's Punk Robot, South Korea's Studio Mir, France's La Cachette, India's 88 Pictures, Japan's D-Art Kajio, South Africa's Triggerfish. So here we go. Here are all of these studios that are now going to be involved with making Season 2. We always saw Star Wars Visions as a framework for celebratory expressions of the franchise. From someone of the best creators working today, says Visions executive producer James Waugh, animation is in a global renaissance, and we're constantly staggered by the amount of creativity pushing the medium forward. With Volume 1, the imaginative minds of Japan's anime industry were on full display. With Volume 2, we expanded our canvas to take audiences on a global tour of some of the most talented creators from around the world. We're so proud to be able to reveal the lineup of studios we've assembled. Every short is incredible, full of heart, scope, imagination, and the values that make stories distinctly Star Wars, all while opening up bold new ways of seeing what a Star Wars story can be. The new series of Visions will be hitting Disney Plus on Star Wars Day itself, May 4th, and we'll be skipping straight to the Aardman shot first, cracking Jedi mind trick Gromit. So if I'm not mistaken, does that mean that potentially it won't all just be like Japanese anime, it'll be just a mix of everyone's, native sort of cartoon. So it seems the first one is going to be titled Sith, Studio El Guiri. It's directed by Rodrigo Blas, and it seems he is a Emmy Award-winning director who spent more than 20 years in animation. After co-founding Stromboli Animation in '97, Blas joined Blue Sky Studios in 2000, working on the new feature film Ice Age before transitioning to Pixar Animation Studios. There, he worked on such projects as Finding Nemo, The Incredibles, Ratatouille, WALL-E, and on the Oscar-nominated short film La Luna. More recently, Blas partnered with Guillermo del Toro to develop the award-winning series Troll Hunters, served as creative director for Mercos Animation Paris, and in 2021 created El Guiri Studios in Madrid with his partner, Cecile Hoeks, who also directed 2009's award-winning short film Alma. So it seems like the lineup is pretty established, I gotta say. Title Screecher's Reach, Cartoon Saloon, Paul Young. Paul Young is a co-founder of Cartoon Saloon. He produced My Father's Dragon, Wolfwalkers, The Secret of Kells, Song of the Sea, and The Breadwinner, as well as Puffin Rock, Dord Van Dango, and Viking School. I don't know any of those, but the next one is In the Stars, and that's done by Punk Robot, and the writer-director is Gabriel Osorio. So Gabriel he specialized in 3D animation. He worked in commercials, movies, and television series. He founded Punk Robot Studios. Since 2008, he has directed projects for children's television, including Flippos, Melon y Perlita, Soccer Girls, and television spots. So I don't know anything he made either. And the next one is I Am Your Mother, done by Aardman. And it would seem that Magdalena Osinska has directed stop-motion CGI, 2D, and live-action commercials, including Wallace and Gromit's The Great Sofa Caper and Share the Orange. I don't know if a lot of you are old enough to remember Wallace and Gromit. I don't even know if it's still going on to this day, but that was a really big show when I was a kid in the 90s. And yeah, I remember Wallace and Gromit. It was all clay animation. It was like clay stop motion. Journey to the Dark Head. Now, I have no clue what that could be about, but it's got a Star Wars feel to it. Studio Mirror, and that is by Hyung Gyeon Park. He's in the Korean animation industry, and he seems to have created dozens of animations for cinematic game trailers, and has since expanded into animated series, working on projects like Dota, Dragon's Blood, Book 3, The Lookism, and Journey to the Dark Head is the first title that he has executive produced from start to finish. Next after that is The Spy Dancer by Julian Chang, who is an Emmy Award-winning French animation studio he co-founded in 2014. In 2021, he won Emmy Award as animation executive producer of Genndy Tartakovsky's Primal, for which he also served as animation supervisor. Okay, so that's actually pretty cool, because if you don't know, Genndy Tartakovsky is actually the dude who made the animation for the original, very first Clone Wars, the 2D one, which still, in my opinion, is better than all the new ones. Of course, the story we get to like dive into a little deeper, of course, with the new Clone Wars. There's more episodes, but it was so much more raw and gritty in the old version it just can't be replaced. Both are great. So it's cool that he worked with Genndy. So that one's going to be The Spy Dancer. Okay, so we can't forget about this, The Spy Dancer. The Bandits of Golak, 88 Pictures, Ishan Shukla. CG artist from Singapore. For more than a decade, he spearheaded projects ranging from TV commercials to series and music videos. He made an animated short called Shirkoa after receiving dozens of awards and playing 120 international festivals, including SIGGRAPH Asia. He then went on to his own animation studio to work on adult-oriented animated feature films, including a feature-length version of Shirkoa, set to hit festivals in summer 2023. The next one after that is The Pit, and this one is the Japanese one, D-Art, Fitaggio, and Lucasfilm Ltd. Writer, director, executive producer Leandre Thomas, and co-director Justin Ridge. Leandre Thomas is an award-winning writer and director from Oakland, California, whose most recent film won Best Director of the Pasadena International Film Festival. In addition to his independent films, Thomas is a part of the franchise studio team at Lucasfilm, where he has worked for more than 11 years, being credited on recent titles such as Light and Magic, The Mandalorian, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Star Wars Tales of the Jedi, and many more. Okay, so this one hopefully should be a banger. The Pit. Let's remember that one too. And the final one is the Ouz Song. Triggerfish is the studio, and it's done by writer-director Nadia Deriz and Daniel Clark. Nadia is a director, animator, and co-founder of Goon Valley Animation. Her experience includes animating at Triggerfish Animation Studios and the award-winning BBC films Stickman, Revolting Rhymes, and Highway Rat. Don't know any of those. Daniel Clark worked on Kumba, Stickman, The Snail, and The Whale. Also don't know any of those, but he did complete a graphic novel called Kariba. So a lot of these guys' projects, I don't know who they are. So except for, of course, the Japanese studio, which we saw right here, and the dude who worked with Genndy Tartakovsky, which actually has me really, really intrigued to see that if he picked up from any of his style at all with the animation. And if we're going to get that little bit of a nostalgia from the old Clone Wars, which would be really sweet. That one's called The Spy Dancer. So we got The Spy Dancer, we got The Pit, which I'm looking forward to just based on the credentials here. And then of course we have The Sith because, well, it says The Sith. So that seems pretty cool. And this guy himself has a pretty extensive resume here. So he's worked at Pixar, and that's, no joke. Not to mention, he helped make Ice Age, which is always great. You guys remember that little squirrel? I think when Disney purchased the studio that made Ice Age, the devs created some sort of, there's like a little fan project for themselves, and they released it, and the squirrel actually finally gets the acorn, the chestnut, which is really nice, not the acorn, the chestnut, and then like scurries off somewhere into the ice. So it was a nice little send-off for him, which is fun because, you know, he never freaking got it after all those years, after all those movies. So anyways, we're going to be getting Visions Season 2, which I'm looking forward to. We're going to do a watch party for all of the episodes, all in one shot. And we'll do that on May 4th at midnight. So really May 3rd at 11:30 p.m. at night, 2:30 a.m. EST. And I'm really excited to hang out with you guys again and watch Visions, because we had a good time last time. So I wonder if they're going to make any books from this one as well, any of the episodes. And I hope that they'll maybe one day start like an actual series based on one of the episodes, one of the shows, which would be cool. But I guess we'll wait and see. So let me know what you guys think about Visions. Are you interested in it, or is it something you're just like, whatever? For me, I think it's pretty fun. It's cool, and I love anime, so I'm hoping that they continue with that style and the whole Japanese feel. Because after all, that is what Star Wars is based on. It's based on the Seven Samurai. Love you guys. Have a great rest of your day, and may the Force be with you.